Hi, Amy.
Hi, B.
We just watched Before the 90 Days, Season 8, Episode 4. Do you want to say anything before we start?
I feel like there was a lot of content in this episode. I cannot say that it was emotionally wooing, if you will. I found it more irritating and concerning for humanity than anything else.
Wow. I didn't know we were in such big trouble. Continue.
Yeah. Oh, your laugh makes me think of the reel that we released recently of all the times that we had laughed, and we didn't capture my favorite laughs that
No,
you had had.
no, no. It just captured a few random ones, but that was fun.
I think a
Yes.
lot happened in this episode. It did keep me engaged for the most part. So,
Okay. It's a good start.
what were your thoughts?
My thoughts are that these people are bordering on lunatics. Absolute lunatics.
Impulsivity, a lack of forethought, a
Always.
lack of honesty,
With themselves, with
and
the other person, with us. Yes.
it's self-realization.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there's a
Desperation.
lot.
I'm going to add to that list.
Desperation.
Desperation. Yeah, we have a lot of desperate people this season, which is amusing but sad. So let's talk about it. But before we do, let's do a quick 1 and 2. 1, rate, review, and follow us wherever you listen to the podcast. 2, watch the podcast on YouTube at 90 Day Fiancé, honestly. And now we can start because I just want to talk about this stuff. It's so crazy. Lisa and Daniel. Oh my God.
Okay,
Do you want to
Lisa.
begin? What are your
She
thoughts on Lisa?
begins her segment by talking about her incontinence, how she was worried she was going to pee herself when she met him, and how it's not uncommon. Maybe you
I know.
need to go see a pelvic floor physical therapist.
Or a urologist.
That too. This woman keeps coming out with the strangest things, and she's kind of like Xena. Like, I'm so enamored, but also, I mean, I loved Xena at the beginning, and then she just became a little, hmm, huh. Anyway, so with Lisa, like, I'm enamored because she comes out with the strangest things, and then it's just, what in the actual F is going on right now?
I don't know. But she has, I don't want to say serious psychological issues because that just sounds awful and condescending. And that's not what I mean. She is a lovely person in that she is innocent and joyful. However, she is so in love with the idea of being in love that she has blinders on like you cannot imagine. She doesn't see the red flags on purpose, by design, so that she can fall into the arms of whoever she thinks is the next one with a capital O for her. She's ignoring
Uh,
the bad things. She's ignoring the daughter's advice, which is very sound. And she's even ignoring her own body. Just the fact that she's wearing the wig and she says how uncomfortable she is in it. She doesn't like to wear them. They don't last a long time. Like that, it's a small thing, but it's indicative of the huge thing that she's doing in her life, which is ignoring all of the signs that say, stop, don't do this.
Going back to the wig thing that you had just mentioned, she said that, she gets rashes, she gets sores, and yet she's going to be wearing these wigs all day and all night. And my first thought is infection.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to be taking your wig off and somehow cleaning it that you're willing to expose yourself to for whatever this is? And I'm pretty sure even if she went to a doctor, to a dermatologist, whatever, and they said, if you continue wearing your wig for an extended period of time, that it's going to cause an infection. This infection is going to have whatever the repercussions are. She'd do it anyway. Like, this woman seems to be so incredibly, like, out of her wits just because she wants this to be so real. And I, I feel so bad for her kid.
I do too. But I feel like the wig is the metaphor for her life. She is uncomfortable, that it is causing her problems to act the way she's acting and do the things she's doing. And yet she ignores it and continues on and puts the wig on her head and acts like It's going to be okay because true love is just on the horizon. But it's not. It's not, Lisa. This guy just wants to get to the US. It's so obvious. And the fact that she's lying about her own life in order to make this work, in order to appease him, in order to fit into his idea of what she has to be in order for him to accept her is pathetic and sad and tragic. She's lying about having been married to women before, and she's lying about her current marital status, which, as you said to me earlier in a text, is just a technicality, according to her. A
That was
technicality? Are you kidding
sarcastic.
me?
So everyone knows that that
I
was
know you were being
sarcasm.
sarcastic, but damn it, woman. Like,
She is completely and utterly out to lunch, and all of these lies are not going to bode well for her. The relationships with the women, the the wig. What else has she lied about? Her financial status.
her
She's
vaping.
her what?
Her vaping. Remember when we see Daniel later on, he says she vapes. She was with a woman. I think he said 2 times, and she was married before. And these are all bad things according to him. And we don't know about the vaping. Maybe she's quit, but that's one of his complaints about
Oh,
her
like
lifestyle.
nicotine vaping.
Yes, vaping.
Oh, being a lesbian plus smoking cigarettes does not equate to his culture or religion. And I think that the wigs, that's just a lie. And this isn't going to go well for her in any capacity. And again, I feel so awful for her because when this fails, it's going to fall on her kid. And that reminds me of what was her name? Monica, when her kid was like, Please go out and get a relationship because I'm sick of being your emotional shoulder." And
Mhm.
same thing.
Exactly. The thing that struck me when she was talking with her daughter before she left as she's packing all her bags is that she mentioned that Daniel said to her when they first met, "Are you free to marry?" And that seemed like a really red flag to me because what does it matter if she's free to marry or not to him, a almost complete stranger? If he's specifically looking for a woman who is free to marry, that means he has an intent, a purpose, and that is to get married to somebody. It doesn't really matter who they are as long as they are free to marry.
And someone who was also a US citizen.
Yeah. So she lied in order to continue the relationship with him. And yet she's framing it all the time as this is her one true love. This is the love of her life. Just like you barely know this person. It's only been a few months.
And he's already told you that he does not appreciate the person that you are based on the
Yeah.
fact that you hooked up with a woman. Yeah, okay. No. He doesn't respect who you are. He doesn't respect your sexuality. Just leave him where he is.
Then we get the scene with her daughter where the daughter is reaffirming with Lisa, hey, if he asks you to marry you, if he puts pressure on you to get married while you're there, you're going to say no, right? And she says to the daughter, no, I'm not going to do that. But then to the camera, to the production crew, when they ask her the same question, would you get married if he asked you? She pauses. I'm like, oh my God, here we go. And she says she would. She would do it. If he asked, even though she's promised her own daughter that she won't take this totally reckless choice, she will marry Daniel just to feel like she's loved, just to feel like she's got the relationship that she believes that she has, which is a total and complete illusion at this point.
And is she going to accept this engagement, assuming that he's going to be doing it quickly? Is she going to accept this before telling him everything?
Yeah. It's hard to say because we don't know that information yet. But from the preview that we saw of next week, it looked like he was proposing as soon as she got to the airport.
I was trying to avoid saying that, but yes,
Mm, okay, well, I did it. Sorry.
it's okay.
She's on her way to the airport. Did you notice how she was talking as if she's trying to bring her own happiness into existence by talking about it? She's so hell bent on things going well when there isn't any evidence to support that, that she's speaking her, whatever, her vision board. What about Daniel? He said he's a Christian, and then he goes to see this soothsayer, clairvoyant, witch doctor guy. And I don't know what terminology is correct, but it's at complete cross purposes with Christianity that you can talk to the gods, talk to the ancestors, and get some kind of otherworldly message. This is not Jesus and Christ and all of that stuff. This is completely different. So
Yeah,
I
I
don't know how these two ideologies work together in his culture.
okay, so he says that uh, his mother was saved in the war by a white woman, and she made him swear that he was going to marry a white woman. So he has to marry a white woman, not just a white woman, but for financial support because the white woman is the savior. What?
Yeah, I don't believe this story at all. I think
I
it's
want to
just a
call this I want to call this man a witch doctor. But I
yeah.
also feel like I don't know, like, I don't want to offend anyone because I feel like I don't even know what a witch doctor is, and what we've known of witch doctors growing up, like, I don't know, but the the fact that he calls himself a Christian man and then goes to see someone who could possibly be delving into other areas outside of that faith is questionable. But again, I don't know enough about the culture to say whether there's like an somehow.
This is my point. Like it's convenient for him to be in both camps, to be in both the I'm a Christian, and so women being with women is not a part of my faith. That is contrary to what I believe in. So the woman that I am with can't be a lesbian. And then that sounds very weird. And then also being having one foot in the camp of, oh, well, I believe that I can speak to the ancestors or receive information from the ancestors by talking to this. I don't know what he is. I want to call him a clairvoyant because that's the only term that I know of where the person purports to speak to people who are deceased. But Daniel calls it going to talk to this guy to speak with the gods. And I'm like, the gods? Wait a second. You're Christian. There's only one God. Where does how do these all fit together? And doesn't that mean that he is just an opportunist? And this is reflected in his relationship with Lisa. It's convenient for me to pick you out of the crowd, to single you out as my American savior because of this hokey story that comes from his mother, supposedly. And it's convenient for me to be both a Christian and a follower of the ancient traditions, which seem at odds with one another. So I feel like he's showing his true colors very clearly in this little interlude.
So call me ignorant, but shouldn't you be asking for forgiveness and praying for guidance as opposed to specifically asking someone for guidance? I mean, in my experience as a Catholic, and I'm a Catholic in my past, I know that it's closely related to Christianity, but can you not go to your priest and ask for advice as
And
opposed to going
you're not allowed to worship false idols or false gods. So
and
this is
because
my
there is
point.
only one. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Okay. So now we have our new couple alert because another one is introduced in this episode. We've got Jovon, 38 from Alabama, and his wife, not fiance, not girlfriend, wife, Annalyn, 38 from the Philippines.
Also, again, not before the 9 days.
No, they should be eliminated from this show immediately.
I mean, maybe that's what we should do moving forward, but I feel like that would really limit the amount that we could talk about is eliminate people that actually don't fit into the premise
Hmm.
of the 90 days. Okay, so anyway, Javon says that all American women want six figures, six packs, and 6 inches, all which what he doesn't have. And the thing that stood out to me was the 6 inches.
I thought he was going to say 6 feet tall. I was really confused. I was like,
That was
what is
my
that?
next point.
Okay.
What about 6 feet tall? Because I see a lot of judgment online about people's heights when online dating. And a lot of women, you have to be over 6 feet tall. So why wasn't that included? But he said that that was the trifecta. But I've never heard of this inch. minimum, this guy is already saying that he's below average of all of the things. Like, okay, what a way to sell yourself. Why can't you come out and not boast, but highlight the things that you're good at or
Mhm.
the things that make you unique?
This is a really interesting case, even though it is out of whack with the 90-day or even before the 90-day premise because of them already being married. They've been in a relationship for 6 years, married for almost 3 years, and he gets the numbers wrong. She corrects him, which is kind of funny. They got married
Yeah.
online. They have not yet met in person, which is wild. This was during COVID, so I guess it's not all that unusual during the time. There were some marriages being conducted online, although I thought it was basically the bride and groom together in one place and the officiant in another, but okay, whatever. My first question when they started talking about how long they've been together is how many years does it actually take before you can save up enough to go one single time to the Philippines? 6 years, and he hasn't once been able to go there because he hasn't got enough money. And I was like, something does not smell right. It's not the money that's standing in Javon's way. It's something else. He is doing this deliberately. Whether he's of it or not, I don't know. But there's no way that if you're married to somebody for 3 years that you would spend 3 years apart when he has a job. He could save the money.
Or he could try, like, what else is he spending the money on? Again, like, I don't know. There are so many different couples that we could look at that could determine this. Like, look at David and Sheila. Like, David bent over backwards to do everything that he could to get to her.
Mhm.
Anyway, there have been a number of people who have made it to the Philippines, and it's a wonder why he wasn't able to do it previously, especially because they got married because it would have given him the clearance to enter into the Philippines
Mhm.
during COVID. A lot of questions there. And then he continues on and he says that she's changed since they got married. And my note was, "Oh, did she get jealous?"
The part that worries me, aside from how much time has gone by with them not meeting, and aside from him saying that she's changed, is that he describes their relationship as a roller coaster ride. And then we learn that in fact they have a lot of fights. And in this current moment, she has blocked him. They have not been communicating for about a week. And the reason for that is because he has a friend who he used to be interested in, but it appears that they didn't have a relationship. And this friend is now somebody that he's close to again because they like to talk about the problems that they're facing in their own respective relationships. And Anna is very opposed to this friendship. She doesn't like it. So
Sorry, I had
Anna
to.
doesn't want him to talk to this woman anymore. And in fact, when she finally does pick up the phone because he had his sister contact her to make sure that she would answer the phone, he says that he's sorry. He apologizes for having rekindled this friendship. And he says he will no longer speak to that woman anymore, which is fair. If it's upsetting your wife, obviously you want to stop that behavior. But I don't feel like there's really any grounds for her to be suspicious. I I mean, that's her feeling and it's valid. But from my perspective, it seems like a whole lot of drama just for nothing. If he needs somebody to talk to, that's his somebody.
Yeah, I'm not sure on this. I don't think we have enough information because it could align with and or cross the boundary for emotional cheating. But we can't really decipher that without knowing more. What was this relationship like with this woman previously? How close was it to them being together? What prevented them from being in a relationship? We don't know. So it's really hard to say.
Well, I think what we do know from this episode is that these two people are in totally different camps and have completely different mindsets. She seems very frantic about stuff and a little bit confused almost about what's going on. And he seems more laid back and lackadaisical about it and It's just kind of like, hey, it's cool, whatever.
We'll get there when we get there.
And I really feel that they're going to butt heads over this, that she wants to control him. She wants to make him do and be and act more. And he wants her to back off and just let him have his space to do and be and act less.
I think she's gonna be very stubborn.
Yes, absolutely. So interesting potential here, but not much information to go on at this point. And of course, they do not fit the mold of before the 90 days. So it's somewhat disappointing that they've been included this season. Let's read on. All right. Emma and Ziad. I like
Okay,
the way
great.
he starts saying, we had a horrible night without describing what was horrible about it. And she starts this episode by saying she's suspicious of Ziad, but not why or how she's suspicious of him. It's just, it's so frustrating. Nobody tells us anything concrete. Are they deliberately screwing with us?
No, I think that they're both so limited with their emotional intelligence that they're not able to communicate what
Mhm.
their issues are. So my commentary was this is a disaster because they can't communicate. What a surprise that this is the issue because they can't communicate. Over breakfast, which looked delicious, what was in that tea that she was so enamored with? You know how I feel about tea. She apologizes and he says nothing.
Oh, no, but he does. He makes her repeat the apology several times over. Hello, controlling, much? Yes. And he asks her to explain exactly what she is apologetic for. And when she does that, he prompts her. And, and, oh, he's putting her in her place like you would not believe. This is revolting, revolting behavior. I can't stand it. But she likes it, so it's her cup of tea, whatever.
Okay. But then he shows like the slightest amount of compassion because she admits to her wrongs and she bows down to him. And oh, that's right. Yes. I will give you what you need at this point because you have acquiesced.
Feel like he mentally made that leap until she mentioned having lost her job. I think he was gloating over her when she finally said, by the way, I've also lost my job, so this really sucks and I'm upset about it. You know how much I love my job. Then he's like, oh, okay, well, now I will play the part of the comforting, I was going to say lover, but they're not lovers. I will play the part of the comforting boyfriend because that will make you feel that I am even more of the wonderful man that I am.
Also, get another job so that I can continue to live off of you.
Yeah. And I very much felt like his performance in that moment was exactly that. It was a performance. She was pretending that everything was fine when he started pretending that he was going to comfort her and look after her after she mentioned her job loss. I was like, this is such baloney. This is so fake.
However, it did seem as though the compassion did occur after she acknowledged that she lost her job. But at the same point, I was wondering how much is she going to divulge at this time? Is she also going to tell him about the previous Moroccan man that she had been engaged to? Oh,
Mhm.
no, it was just her job loss, which I think will directly impact what they do while they're in Morocco. Because she said she was going to pay for everything.
Mhm.
Can she actually afford to pay for everything? And even if she does pay for everything, if she can, what is she gonna go back to?
Well, at least she has a sister, so maybe she can live at the sister's house. Yeah, the choice of going shopping after this revelation, I thought was a little bit,
Rich?
didn't it did not jive. Like, you don't take out this woman who has just admitted that she's lost her job to go shopping. Okay, it makes her happy to spend money she no longer has, sure, but he
She just likes
does,
to have the things.
yeah, he does offer to buy her the little purse things that she wants to get, and I think he does do that, which is nice, but it's a very small gesture in the face of whatever else she is paying for. And then
Can I can I say it?
yeah.
She wants to get a new purse or a new bag for all the money that she doesn't have.
Oh, that's sad. When they go to eat the snails. I felt like that also was a deliberate choice on his part because he's testing her all the time. He's seeing how far he can push her. And she was extremely rude about it, which in a weird way I was happy about, but also in another way I was like, don't be rude about this. Just tell him, no, thank you. I'd prefer not to eat that, but you have at it. Eat your snails.
That made me
Yeah.
hungry, so I can't
Okay.
really say much. I haven't had escargot in a very long time. I can't say that it looked incredibly delicious. However, I can see where you're coming from, where he was testing her a bit. He targeted this place and is like, "Hey, we're gonna eat this," knowing full
Mhm.
well that she's gonna be squeamish about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I forget where I was going with that first piece.
They go next on a carriage ride. The horses are extremely emaciated and starved, and I was very upset about them going on the horse ride because you
I
should
fast
not
forwarded this.
pay into uh, anyway, it's animal abuse, animal cruelty. I really didn't like that, but on this ride, she attempts to share with Ziad her past where she was engaged to somebody else who was from Morocco. But again, with the control and the exertion of power, he does not want to hear it. I don't need to know about your past life. Don't even bother telling me about it. It doesn't matter. He doesn't want to hide anything from her, I don't think, because she admits, well, maybe he doesn't want me to tell him because he's also hiding stuff. I think he just doesn't want to think of his woman to have lived a full life or had anybody other partners before him. So he does not want to know. Your life before me does not exist, in effect. More control.
Yeah,
Very
seems
interesting.
pretty typical at this point. I mean, not to generalize, but the couples that we have seen most recently on the 90-day franchise.
Mhm.
Am I wrong?
No, no, it's
Okay.
I'm just shocked that again we meet this same guy in essence in Ziad who's trying to control her, the American woman, and yet for whatever reason she likes it and she's there, she's happy so far. I don't believe it's going to last. I don't think any of the couples who have gone through this whole process and moved back to the States are still together that are in that we're in that dynamic of the man trying to control the woman. Like it's just it does not work in the long term unless she's entirely willing to be subservient to him.
I feel like my face is giving my next opinion away.
Okay. Would you like to read on?
Ugh. So we find out that Sheena's parents own her apartment, and that when she was talking to them about Forrest coming to visit, they wanted to charge them.
Mhm.
Okay, Sheena has her own apartment. She's one person. And then if Forrest comes, that's going to be 3 additional people. That's going to be an additional amount of electricity, water usage, whatever. I don't know what it's like in the Philippines. Maybe that's legal, maybe it's not. But the fact that her parents are paying for it, like, do they own it or are they still paying for it? Does she pay the electricity? Does she pay for okay, do you have some
We
clarity on this?
Not really, but I just want to say that we don't know for sure exactly what the circumstances are. We're given this information from Forrest and his family, which, as we know, very unreliable. So the fact that they're saying her parents own the apartment that Sheena lives in could be a same situation as Forrest has in the States, where he lives in what amounts to a duplex house. He lives in one half, his parents live in the other half. But if Sheena lives in a similar situation in the Philippines, which I'm pretty sure she does because the families don't tend to separate that far, especially if the daughters are unmarried, they stay with the parents. Sheena probably lives in the same building as the parents. The parents own the building, and Sheena has one part or one section of it that is hers. So her inviting Forrest and his parents to come to that building could have meant that her parents would have to be hosting his family. Because as you said, we don't know if what she lives in is just like a small one-bedroom apartment, if it's even has its own kitchen and bathroom, like, we have no clue. So, to me, when I heard they were thinking about charging Forrest, I was like, Okay, sounds reasonable because they've got, like you said, bills to pay, but they could also be encroaching on their space. And they didn't invite these people to come and stay. Maybe if Forrest had been coming on his own, that would have been fine. But now they've got this woman, Molly, who is absolutely insane and who has been treating your daughter like crap over text. Are you really going to welcome her into your house and say, yeah, sure, use my house. It's fine?
But I also wonder if they owned the building and they could have rented out an extra apartment. Either way, I think that it was so entitled for Forrest to take that position of, what do you mean you're not going to just take me in? No, sir. You're a random guy from the States coming with your mom and your stepfather. We don't know you. We don't trust you. You have given us no reason to trust you.
What I want to talk about with these guys is the disgusting behavior that we see from Molly about the couple and what they did last night or did not do, because that was way over the line. That was so intrusive and rude. Obviously, they're sharing an apartment where the two bedrooms are right next door to one another. They share a wall. You're not going to be
Yeah.
doing stuff with your parents right there. That's just way too awkward and gross. But the fact that Molly asked them point blank if they did nookie nookie is so absurdly gross. Ugh.
It's like kind of on the line with her taking Forrest to buy Sheena lingerie and then for Forrest to present it to Sheena. Like there's a massive boundary that has been broached. There's an issue in this relationship, and I'm not going to say it, but it's inappropriate. That's what I'll say. It's
Yeah.
inappropriate.
It was disrespectful of the couple's privacy, and it was overbearing and absolutely awful. And then when she doesn't get an answer, when Forrest says to her, "You're going too far, Mom, back off," she gets offended. She acts like, "Oh, poor me. I'm the one who's being cast aside now because my boy, my little boy, who I have always been number one in his life, has fallen for somebody else who could be a scammer. We don't know. And she is now taking up space in his life that I used to occupy. And poor little sad me."
She made the comment like now she's taking control and she's putting the thumb down on him.
Yeah. Projection. It was so purely projection. Like everything that she said about Sheena is manipulating Forrest. Sheena's trying to control Forrest. No, Molly, that's you. That's actually how you're treating him. And Sheena is not doing that to him. They are trying to explore their relationship. They're just getting to know one another. There is no manipulation of Forrest, his feelings, or his financial status. No evidence of that has been presented to us whatsoever. Everything that we have seen so far is Molly interfering, manipulating, and vilifying for her own gain, for her own satisfaction.
The only positive thing that I can say at this point is that Forrest did stand up to his mom in the car. He did set a boundary. I don't know if it's enough. And there could be an issue because Molly had said she'd vocalized how he had spoken about Sheena before he had left. And I wonder if that's what had led her to believe that she could say these things because he had said these things previously. Now, I also want to acknowledge the fact that we have seen the things that Forrest has said online about women. And I can see how that would be a thing. However, that doesn't give her any permission to say the things that she had said, to push, to ask for the things that she had said. This is definitely a boundary that she should not have crossed. And I think that this is a relationship that is like legit gross.
And it gets even grosser when they go to have lunch or dinner together. And Molly starts off this discussion where she obviously has a motive. She wants to get at something with Sheena, and that is to question her about what she perceives to be the problem at this point, which is the lying, the lies that Sheena has had to tell, and I'm like, "Okay, this is a really fine line." Like, there's hiding stuff, there's lying, there's secrets, there's her making her own decisions about what to do with her own money, with her family, which is none of your business. So, it's complex, but the way that Molly frames it, so black and white. You lied. You chose. I want to know why. Why did this happen? Why did you do it? You have to explain it to me now, and I will not accept your apology or your explanation until it's one that I deem to be true. It's like, holy shit, woman. Putting the screws to this person that you've just met, who is your son's life partner or chosen partner.
Well, also sweating absolute balls.
Sheena gives good explanations. Yes, she goes off into this territory where you can't really understand what she's saying because she's
Oh,
weeping so much.
that was something that bothered me so much was when Molly was like, "We can't understand you. You're crying too hard."
Yeah, even though Sheena gives really good explanations, she's like, this is cultural, meaning you don't understand it. Please let me just tell you that it's cultural. Or I was really scared of how my parents would react if I stood against them. Molly's like, no, 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 I don't understand. That's not acceptable. That's not real. I don't like that. You're trying to manipulate us. Try again. I'm like, Jesus, give her a break. She's explaining, she's upset. She's obviously highly stressed, and you're just being a complete asshole to this woman. And then when she goes to Dev, she's like, "Oh, well, you agree with me, don't you, that we don't understand what's going on?" And Dev, ugh, now we see, like, it's obvious he's the downtrodden man in this relationship. Molly wears the pants. "Oh, yeah, yeah, I agree, Molly." Like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, she's gotta explain herself better." And then Forrest pipe in, like, "You agree with me, don't you?" And then this is when he finally sets another boundary and says, "You've gotta stop, Mom. You're being aggressive. This is not right. We we're going to stop this line of questioning right now." At which point, Molly just flips her lid. You can see it. She denies that she's being hostile. Yes, you are. Yes, you're very, very hostile.
I think something that needs to be said is, going back to the airport scene where Sheena immediately apologizes and begs for forgiveness. And even in this scene, she's also begging for forgiveness, even though she was doing what was right for her family at the detriment of Forrest's family. Okay, well, what have they been doing to help themselves? But there's no acknowledgement of that. I mean, I can appreciate the fact that Forrest steps in at some point, but we already know how I feel about him. Sheena needs to step away, appreciate the relationship that she thought she had had. I
Mhm.
feel like this is very similar to the Greta situation. You thought that it was going to be so much better than what it was, and it's not. And it's best that you leave now.
Well, I don't think that it's best for Sheena to leave. I think that's a little drastic, but I would like to see Molly removed from this relationship so that Sheena and Forrest can decide for themselves independently if they're a good match or not. And I also feel very, very strongly that Molly is her influence in this relationship is one that we are seeing in other relationships across this season. It's one of trying to control the other person, but in this case, it's two people trying to manipulate them, trying to be the one who gets to call the shots, and it's very disturbing what she's putting this couple through and how she acts towards them is incredibly disrespectful and harmful.
Sheena looks so happy when she's with him.
Mhm.
And I love that so much for her. And the only thing that I want for her is for her to be happy. So if she is happy with Forrest, then I really hope that they can make it work.
Agreed. Let's read on to Laura and Birkan, the final couple for this week. When she was on the plane and she was about to land, she said she thinks she's very excited to see Birkan and she hopes that it's not the cheese sandwich that she ate that's making her feel that way. And I immediately said to myself, I'm more excited for the cheese sandwich than I am for Birkan. What about you?
Okay, two questions. What kind of
What kind of
cheese
cheese?
and what kind of bread?
Doesn't matter.
Okay, 3
It's
questions.
a cheese
Was
sandwich.
was there was there butter?
Okay. Revelation this week is not just that he's jobless, has lots of debt, he's homeless. He lives with his
Couch
friends.
surfing.
S- Couch surfing. He's a surfer of couches.
He's homeless.
He's homeless. What a And his haircut looks even worse this week. I think that he is trimming his hair in the dark while drunk because it's so uneven. Like, who would pay for that?
Dude, I couldn't watch him on my screen without thinking about your words from last week. It looks so awful. And again, I agree with you. It's even worse this week. I can't
Mhm.
believe that it's that bad. Dude, what are you doing?
Shaving his head in the dark. I kid you not. This is what he's doing.
But how do you get that like little curl under?
He'd like to talk about the fact that Birkan takes the train to the airport to meet Laura, which is lovely. However, when he gets there, he says, "Come and meet me at the train station." He doesn't go the little extra step of walking from the train station to the arrivals to greet her and help her with their bags to come back to the train station. I was very annoyed at that. Were you? Was that
Okay,
just me?
well, so all he had to do was to get off of the train and then walk into the little area and meet her there. Like it was a very short distance that he had to go, and he decided to not do that.
The fact that he can't even be bothered to come out of the train station and go to the terminal, I think speaks volumes.
Well, that was like what's his face, the one that met the one with the wig outside. He couldn't bother himself to go inside.
Well, sometimes I think in some countries it's more difficult to get inside the terminal because we've seen a lot of places where the other guy or woman is outside the terminal waiting for them to arrive, and it could just be the airport doesn't let the camera crew in. I have no idea, but to me that's believable. But this, you guys are like, she's got a camera crew with her, he's got a camera crew with them, with him. He just doesn't bother to go that extra step when she says, "Oh, I'm here early." He just takes advantage and says, "Okay, you come and meet me at the train station." When they finally do meet, I feel like she's clinging to him like he's a life raft. The way that she gloms onto him immediately and doesn't let him go, it doesn't feel like some of the meetings and greetings that we've had where they're both enthusiastically embracing each other. This is, oh my God, she's relinquishing everything into him and she's making him the source of all happiness and joy in her life. And she's going to hold on to it no matter what. He definitely does not reciprocate.
Think about Sheena and Forrest. Not only did they have their meeting, but then they also had that family meeting. And Laura's meeting with Birkan was just so lackluster. I mean, there was a bit of a spark, and then it just seemed as though, like, the second that they left the pathway, it just all dissipated. And I don't know, because they had that kiss, and
Mhm.
that kiss seemed passionate.
I disagree.
Ma'am, I've been single for a very long time. Seemed passionate. At least he kissed her, okay? Unlike
Bad.
Emma
And
and
Emma,
Ziad. Yeah, okay. So they at least had that. And then on the train, it was just like, and I mean, even with the interview, he wouldn't look at her. At one point, it does look at her. And then they get on the train, and she's staring up at him like, "Oh my God, you're the most handsome." And he gives her like the side eye. It's kind of like how my cat treats me. Like, you exist, you feed me, I love you to a certain extent. This man is 100% using her to get his entry into the US. And I really hope that she doesn't fall for it because I think it's disgusting. I think he's disgusting. And as we were talking about earlier today, he has absolutely no personality. What did she fall in love with? She fell in love with the idea of being with a man from Morocco.
mm, he's from Turkey.
Shit.
The train thing was so awkward. And weird, and it seemed from my perspective like reality had set in for him the moment they sat down in the train. He's only able to play the part of the doting lover for 5 minutes. Then that's it. He's expended all of his goodwill, all of his good feeling. Reality bites him in the butt, and it's incredibly obvious he doesn't like her. He doesn't have any chemistry with her. This is very much worse than the situation that we saw with Vanya and Bojo when she arrived and he was like, "Oh, actually, don't feel it, don't like you, don't want to be with you."
Never mind.
Yeah. This is very obvious from that moment. It's very obvious in the next scene when they go walking and he's making all of his philosophical remarks, which are complete and utter bullshit, but he's not touching her. He never reaches to grab her hand. She's always the one who's leaning into him, nuzzling him with her head, looking at him adoringly stuff. He stares into the distance and does not touch her. It's obvious, painfully obvious that he has no romantic feelings for Laura at all. They sit on opposite sides of the couch when they're back in the apartment. Doesn't look at her. He hugs a pillow close to him. That's a defensive move. Am I right?
100%.
Like, don't come near me.
A
This pillow
physical.
is like a wall
Yeah.
between us.
Yeah.
And then when she says, "Well, I'm really tired. I want to go to bed. What do you think?" "Oh, I'm going to watch TV for a while. I'll join you later." Right. Mm-mm. No kiss,
If
no
he
hug,
does, you're
nothing.
going to find him on, like, the very fine edge of the bed, if not with a pillow, like, wall between the 2 of you, and he's fully clothed,
I think he's going to be
including socks.
in the other bedroom. He's going to say something like, "Oh, I didn't want to disturb you and didn't want to wake you up. You were sleeping so soundly, so I went to sleep in the other room."
Mm-mm.
So sad for Laura, and then the fact that she's got all of these text messages from Michael, who's actually concerned for her and checking up on her, making sure she's okay, being such a stark contrast to how Birkan is treating her.
Fair. Totally
Yeah,
fair. Like, Michael knows her all too well,
yeah.
and he's also very invested in whether or not she's okay.
And I love the fact that Michael picks up even over text, the fact that something's wrong, that she's not as excited as she had hoped to be, and maybe something's off. My initial thought was, you know what you should do right now, Laura? You should call Michael and you should tell him to get on the next flight over to Turkey and come and join you right away. Because,
You know, no, I disagree.
okay,
What she needs to do is schedule the next flight out and leave because
well,
this man is giving you absolutely nothing. Why did you pay all of this money to go here? And why would you continue to pay this money? Because obviously he's not paying for the Airbnb or the hotel.
no. But she
Get
could
the
be there
F
with
out of
Michael.
here.
She could be there with Michael on a nice vacation and just kick
Okay, well,
Birkan
that would
out.
be lovely.
Yeah.
Like, if he can get there, okay, great. Recreate this meeting. Oh. He comes, "Oh my god, he's here. Let's continue my adventure with Michael here, and we will live happily ever after."
Yeah. Anyway, Laura's in a
I mean,
big mess.
that's actually it's actually what I want. I want her to end up with him.
I think we all do. Yeah. Birkan is sadly disappointing us very, very much. Mm.
To say the least.
Yes. Well, I think that about covers it. Shall we wrap it up?
Yes, please.
Okay, before we go, if you're enjoying the 90 Day Fiancé Honestly podcast, please subscribe to or give our show a follow. If you have an additional moment, please rate us and help other 90 Day fans to find our show. Thanks for listening, everyone,
Thanks, everyone.
and have a happy new year. See you next week.
Happy New Year.